Welcome to Gate Crashers, a podcast dedicated to kicking open the door to your next favorite thing. Our mission, our creed, and our code is this: to make all things more approachable and accessible to everyone. We want you to find a universe that you'll fall in love with. Today is very special. It is a video podcast, which we don't usually do, but the two people sitting with me today are the screenwriters of TMNT Mutant Mayhem, Pokemon Detective Pikachu, Addams Family 2. They were the showrunners for a show called Koala Man, which I will talk about a little later because they brought over someone with that. And they are the showrunners for Lego Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy. But most importantly, they're my friends, Benji Samit and Dan Hernandez. How are you both?
Doing well.
We're great. We're happy to be talking to you. It's a New Jersey celebrity. It's New Jersey royalty.
Oh, I changed my shirt. I was wearing a Carmela Soprano shirt earlier.
No, but she's in your heart. That's what's important.
I did buy a velour jumpsuit though. I just got it yesterday.
Well, so, there you go. There you go.
I'll send some pics to you later. So this is my first Star Wars interview and my first Lego interview. Two things that are very special. But to commemorate that, we are going to be building a set together, which is me. I'm gonna wipe this. Jedi Bob Starfighter. And they both have the fancier setup for the camera, so you'll be able to see some action there. All you're gonna get from my side is this sick Lego ASMR. Now,
I'm gonna be more in a coaching capacity today.
So maybe you'll help out.
I'll help out.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna need your help so much.
He does not need my help. He is a master. I am but the Padawan in this relationship, but I will offer spiritual light side support.
I just have to wait for the on your mark, get set, go. And
they when they made that whole master builder thing for the Lego universes, they did it for Benji.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll get started with that, because I haven't interviewed both of you since. You can just rip it open. Also, they put them into fancy like 1, 2, 3, 4. I just remember ripping straight into it and going at it. Maybe they always did this.
Well, the bigger sets have bags because, there's a lot of pieces to keep track of. I'm going to start with bag 1.
We should be mindful that they can, dump them out so they're not too loud.
Oh, you gotta get that ASMR.
I'm sorry. I'm back. I'm coaching.
So,
all right, let's focus on.
No, we got this. Listen.
I'm focused.
Okay.
You'd be amazed at how many meetings I do while building Lego, because it's just a nice.
And I play Doom 2 on my web browser.
Play that thing on anything. So I don't think we have ever done a formal interview except in person, where I wasn't able to really show you how serious of a journalist I am. So my first question is always a hard hitter, so I hope you're ready. What is your favorite sandwich?
Gosh.
Well, that's
what a question. I didn't sign up for a gotcha.
That's like my favorite of my kids now. Next,
that's actually a question for
Jedi Bob complete, just so you see. Yeah.
You beat me to him. He's
Bob
looking for his head.
I actually do have an answer to this one, and I'm gonna give full credit to my close friend. I really, she's my best friend, Benji, and my friend Dory. She introduced me to the perfect sandwich, which is Italian sub with rare roast beef, lettuce, tomato, mayonnaise, oil, not vinegar, salt and pepper.
Okay.
And if you can find that exact sandwich with the right bread and the right roast beef, the roast beef is really the make or break of this sandwich, because if it's too cooked, it's over, it's done. But if it's the right rarity, it's unbeatable sandwich.
I like that. Oh wow, this cape has a nice feeling to it. They used to be like
high quality.
Yeah, because we
only the finest.
The finest capes.
Akbar Trooper. His favorite sandwich, he would say, it's a wrap.
Oh boy, we've already descended into madness. What's your favorite sandwich?
My favorite sandwich, I like a meatball sub.
All right, that's a good one. Now,
Well, it was met with a lot of silence.
I
no,
don't know.
meatball sub is good.
Does
I'll
that
be
not
honest with
count
you.
as a sandwich?
No, your
I
sandwich is
think,
better. I'll tell you that.
what he was running through his mind, Dan, probably was like, has Benji ever really had a proper New Jersey meatball sub? Can he really know?
I listen. I the meatball sub is, I think, more of my more of my flavor than yours was, mostly because I think roast beef is a novelty meat, um, and it only has like two uses. Sorry,
Mm.
but I'm
And
gonna try this sandwich now.
I agree with you.
Yeah, it's just like you can only have a roast beef sandwich. You can't really like.
This is
There's not a lot of
here's Sturvell, but we're gonna talk about him later, I think.
we listen. I when I was watching it, as soon as I heard that voice, I freaked out. Now, Benny, when I
yes,
saw your Lego Master Builder arena, dome, dojo, cave, whatever you want to call it,
My Lego room.
yeah, my mouth dropped. I was blown away. So I want to ask you something, and you've probably gotten the what was your favorite Lego set or things like that. But I want to know what both of your favorite pieces are. So, like the individual
Oh,
blocks
man.
themselves. What block are you rocking with?
no one's asked us this, so this is good.
I,
Oh shit!
He's having an existential crisis.
mhm. I I like a lot of the pieces that I don't have any in this bag at the moment, but there are the ones where that basically like let you change the direction of the build. I don't know what the technical term is. I'm going to get in trouble in the Lego community for not
Like the
knowing.
corner pieces?
It's pieces that basically let you use a technique called SNOT, SNOT, which stands for studs not on top. And for a nice clean build, you don't, a traditional Lego
Looking
build.
around for them.
I'm seeing if there's any
If there's any snot.
good snot builds in here, but not really. A traditional Lego build, you got the studs on the top, and it looks very much like Lego. It doesn't necessarily look like a finished model, but using specialty pieces, you can really take it to the next level of like looking incredibly detailed.
Got it.
So that's something that came to mind. I mean, I'm also just a big fan of traditional bricks and plates. The old school pieces you can just do a lot with, and having that more vintage look is not necessarily a bad thing. There are just so many specialty pieces now that, I get excited when they add a new piece to the to the
the roster.
the
They
roster.
really are. Something I noticed in the show is that the Siths, their hoods are like a lot different than I've seen in the pieces themselves. Are those new pieces or are those things that have been brought?
You mean so like the Jedi Bob here, see his hood, this is the old hood piece,
Yeah.
but we sort of brought back for this. Because most hoods now don't have the front part. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, they looked different than what I'm used to seeing. They were unique.
Yeah, they changed the hood a little. There's some controversy in the community
Yeah.
of the
Look,
change
we
in hood,
lean into the controversy.
but
I'm just gonna
I'm just happy that our new Jedi Bob still has the same hood as old Jedi Bob. That's all
I,
that really mattered
I
to
love the
me.
commitment. Yeah, I wasn't gonna ask you about things that are gonna get you canceled, like
But
the
I did. There
forbidden
are some differences.
building.
The main differences is if you look at the printing on this Jedi Bob, it's worn. It's like has a printed wear onto it, uh, and it's because he's an old minifig and he's very worn in the show itself, and it was important to me to have some sort of difference because I didn't want all the collectors of classic Jedi Bob minifigs to suddenly have something that is worth less because
We
Yeah.
got to think about
New
those
one.
values, baby.
I wanted it to feel different, but also like the lightsaber is different. Lego does the chrome lightsaber a little different than they did in the early 2000s. but for the most part, it's pretty, you know, as you said, I think the fabric's a little different, but I think the Jedi Bob fans are happy with how that figure turned out, so I'm happy.
Were there a lot of like, is that like a, I'm not too familiar with the Lego community
Well,
other than
Oh,
like,
you don't know about
forbidden
well, I
techniques.
was,
you don't know about the Jedi Bob community?
no, but I was actually, Dan, I was the same way, which
Thank
was,
you.
I knew Lego Star Wars and I knew Star Wars, you know, I think pretty well, but when Benji and I first started talking about this special, he said, well, you know who the main Jedi Master needs to be? It needs to be Jedi Bob. And it's like, well, what are you talking about? And it's like, oh, you don't know about the legend of Jedi Bob. And that's when he
The
explained
legend.
to me that, well, you can tell.
Do you know anything about Jedi Bob, Dan?
I only know what Dan told me over a lunch.
So
and
essentially, the old Republic gunship Lego set from, I want to say 2003, 2004, uh, was it had a bunch of minifigs in it, and one of the minifigs was this, and on the box it just said Jedi Knight. Like it was just a random generic Jedi that did not even match up with anyone who was in that scene in the movie. And so people in the Lego community, the AFOLs, if you will, the adult fans of Lego,
Okay.
they just started calling him Jedi Bob, and he sort of became a legendary figure within the community because he was only in that one set that was not like a super wide release set. It became a bit of a collector's item that was hard to get, and so over the last, you know, decade, to get a Jedi Bob minifig, just the Jedi Bob minifig would probably run you about $100 on eBay. And
Just for that fig? For the
Yep.
minifig?
that's for the minifig. And so he really became this, like, it came from the fan community of like giving him a name and a character. And so when we got the opportunity to do this, I was like, well, this is the perfect chance to like make Jedi Bob come back. And luckily everyone was on board with my wild idea.
And that's also why his full name is Jedi Master Barbarian AFOL, named after the adult fans of Lego.
Yes.
So it's a little, it also sounds like a Star Wars name by.
It does. I didn't realize that at all. I was like, that's a really cool name.
Last name is AFOL.
Oh, that's so nice.
Most of the character last names in this show are Lego references.
Greebling, Scala, AFOL, Sig is a Lego reference. Lug, the Nerf is a Lego reference. So they're kind of all over the place throughout the whole show.
That's super exciting because that's a nerddom that is out of my purview. The last Lego I built was probably when I was not of legal drinking age. I do have the full Daily Bugle in the closet, but I have no room to.
That's a good set, by the way. I have to say,
it's really
that's
good.
one of my
That's
favorites.
a very fun build.
The Green Goblin was in it, so I was like, all right, done.
Really good.
I want to get the Falcon, but I don't have room for it in this tiny room. But both of you have been working together for a while. Was there ever a moment when you've got this where it hit you that you were running a Star Wars series and Lego, because both are such huge things?
I think that keeps hitting us.
I think it keeps hitting
even
us
to this day.
Every day. I mean, it's not an exaggeration to say that if you had asked us 20 years ago at the beginning of our partnership, what would be the top of the mountain for you? There's a lot of things that we love, but I feel certain that we both would have said Star Wars is the absolute
the number
one dream thing. And in Benji's case, he would have probably said 1A and 1B with some sort of Lego project.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I mean, Star Wars and Lego, if like I had to pick like my two greatest like loves from going like all the way back, like I think that's probably them. And so to do something that's both of that, it's like it's wild and crazy. And we keep having pinch, you know, when we were doing the sound mix on the show at Skywalker Ranch and you know, or just being up at the Lucasfilm offices or in the, you know, at the ranch in George Lucas's private library. And you know, or even like it's just crazy. Like this week we're having the premiere of the show at the El Capitan in Hollywood, and I even rewind just a few years ago, Dan and I were just fans in the audience at the all-night Star Wars marathon leading up to Force Awakens at the El Capitan. And so to be back in that theater with our own Star Wars is it's crazy.
And I would extend that to last week. We got the invitation to travel to Billund, Denmark, to go to the Lego headquarters, and we got a tour of the Lego factory, and it truly was the closest thing I've ever felt to Willy Wonka. It was, you know, just like a very jovial Danish woman who was amazing touring us through this factory, and we really saw everything. I mean, bricks on these robotic conveyor belts and pieces, and just it was like a marvelous, unexpected thing, a once in a lifetime thing. And it was a little bit crazy to go to Denmark for 2.5 days, but we said, you know what? This is a once in a lifetime opportunity. Who knows if this is ever going to come again? Let's just go. Let's just go see it with our own eyes. That's something that my dad always taught me, is he said, you know, don't let anybody tell you about something. Go and see it for yourself. And it just so firmly fell in that category. And so those moments keep happening along this process where you go, I can't believe our Star Wars show comes out this week. I can't believe that we're in Denmark. It felt a little bit like,
I can't believe we're on bag 2.
I also can't believe that.
How did you?
I know. This is my life. Welcome to my life, where he like,
Yeah, what the fuck?
like very valiantly attempt to do it, and he just sits there like judging me for not going at world record speed like he can do. But yeah, you're getting a little glimpse into my trauma here.
Do you speaking of trauma, do you ever get to know if George has seen it or no? Do they keep that information from you?
Don't know if George has seen it.
We'd like to hope that he has.
To hope.
We'd like to hope that he's watched it and loved it.
We keep joking that when we were mixing the show that he was going to come in and say, guys, I've heard you were here. You did it.
Pat you on the back, tells you he's proud of you.
That
Hey, you want to go outside and have a catch?
And, you know,
Yeah.
But we do know that everyone else at Lucasfilm has watched it, and we're doing this big premiere event this week, and so I think that, you know, the word is starting to get out there, and we're really excited for people to actually be able to experience it when it drops.
I have been so excited about this show since you mentioned that it was happening, and getting to watch it this week was another thing. If the show wasn't good, I'd let you know, but this show is like, it is so funny, but it still has a huge heart, and it's something that I've been thinking about leading up to this moment, that from what we see in Star Wars, it's always just the hero's journey. Like we know the Star Wars, how to build a Star Wars story, but how did you approach building your own in this universe while you're still getting to make all your fun, like one-off, what if jokes about all the characters? How do you tell a human story through all that?
I think you put your finger exactly on it, which is, we said, you know what, yes, this is a Lego Star Wars, and that means that there's a certain kind of off-kilter humor that you can have access to. You can be a little bit more self-referential about some of the things that are going on. And in our case, the big concept of rebuilding the galaxy meant that we were going to be making commentary on sort of the traditions of certain characters or planets or creatures, or all the things that we know so intimately from decades of Star Wars. But
it would have been very easy for us to just sort of do like almost like a series of sketches that were like what if scenarios of just silly things in the Star Wars world. But I think that would have gotten old pretty quickly. And it was important to us that at the heart of this was just like a good Star Wars story that was emotional and fun, and the way all great Star Wars stories are. And so, like, yes, we wanted to have all that fun, you know, alternate galaxy Lego humor, but it needed to be grounded in something real.
And so we said to ourselves, Benji and I, when we write, don't make a distinction between, oh, this is something that's for kids, this is something that's adults. You know, the only real distinction we make is sometimes with language and sort of the hardcore-ness of what actually can occur, you know, the difference between Koala Man and Addams Family 2, right? But our sort of philosophical approach is the same. We say we are going to write something that we think is just a great story. And breaking us, putting together, figuring out what happens in a Star Wars story was its own unique challenge, because how do you find a new lane within that? And so we kept coming back to this idea of, what if the person you love the most in the world, the person that you looked up to the most in the world, your very own brother, who was the best guy in the galaxy, suddenly was the worst guy in the galaxy? How quickly would you give up on that person? How quickly would you accept that this new version of your brother is evil? Or would you get to the point where you would say it's irredeemable? This is an irredeemable person, and it's not the same person that I knew back in my galaxy. And that felt like a really big, loaded question. And Gaten Matarazzo, who plays Sig, our hero, and Tony Revolori, who plays his brother in both versions of the galaxy, anchor this emotionally so beautifully in the special, because yeah, it's for kids. Yeah, we want kids to watch it, but we want adults to watch it. We want everyone to look at this relationship and say, this is the beating heart of this is pure Star Wars. And at a certain point, I hope that people will be watching the show and having fun and laughing at all the jokes, and because there's lots of jokes and it's very funny. But I find, even when I watch it, right around the end of part 3, all the way through 4, I kind of forget that I'm in a Lego Star Wars thing, and I'm kind of like, I'm just in a Star Wars adventure, a classic Star Wars adventure. And that was kind of our intention and how we approached philosophically putting together this story.
That makes me very happy, because there are moments that I was messaging you that I was like emotional, and I was like, wait, this is like a Lego thing. Like, why am I like, there is no difference. A story is a story no matter how it's told. And there's character beats that will always make me very emotional. Now, you've gotten to play a lot with the galaxy itself, but you've also had a ton of talent from the films and other things involved with this project. And I know it's super cool to do stuff with Mark Hamill, the Joker, one of the greatest voice actors ever, other than the whole Luke Skywalker thing. But you got to focus on Ahmed Best with Jar Jar Binks. How did that come to fruition? Was this something you pitched them that Lucasfilm was like, all right, cool, do it?
Basically,
yeah.
yeah. Benji and I at the beginning of this process said, okay, we're rebuilding the galaxy. What are some of the things in a rebuilt version of the Star Wars galaxy that we now have access to that we wouldn't have in a story that was canonically more linear to the Star Wars galaxy that we're familiar with? And pretty early on, we said, I hate to say it, but we might have the actually only opportunity to tell the story of Darth Jar Jar in a way that doesn't feel random or crazy, but actually feels organic to the bigger story that we're trying to tell within this special. And we sort of said, I don't know if they're going to go for it. I don't know even if what the appetite
or if
for
Ahmed would go
Ahmed would go for it. And to the credit of Lucasfilm and Lego, and I think because it's the 25th anniversary of Lego Star Wars, they said, let's try it. Let's go for it. And so we then reached out to Ahmed and we let him know kind of what we had in our mind. And he was so cool, and he was completely aware of Darth Jar Jar and the theories and the memes and everything. And so he was super excited to come back and do a completely different version of Jar Jar. And I have to say, seeing Ahmed perform in the booth, the physicalization, the vocalization, the characterization, I actually had such a greater appreciation for everything that he did as a trailblazing actor all those years ago when he created Jar Jar. Because without Jar Jar and his performance and the technology that he was basically like test piloting, I don't think that we have Gollum. I don't think that we have Avatar. I don't think that we have Planet of the Apes. And so I think that time has really borne out that Jar Jar is a foundational part of the Star Wars galaxy, which maybe, in 1999, people maybe would be shocked to hear that. But I think that that's firmly true now. And even more so after witnessing it with my own eyes. I could not have been more impressed by him.
I'm just happy the prequels are getting the love they deserved. Now,
Now we're all
You-
on to 3, right?
What the? How?
No, I know.
I'm like trying to keep like eye contact so it doesn't look like I'm
But
ignoring you.
There's no winning. This is
What the fuck? Yours looks like a ship. Mine looks like a little ant going on down here. Look at that. It's still we're still at the ant
He'll get
conception
there.
stage.
You'll be a force builder soon enough.
I'll get there one day. Now you did Koala Man with Michael Cusack.
Yeah, we did.
That show, if you haven't seen it, please go watch it. It's these three firing on all cylinders with great humor, never leans too hard into cynicism. But Michael Cusack, other people may know him from like Smiling Friends and other things that he's done. You've brought him over to voice a droid. What was that just like, hey, this is someone we need to have in Star Wars, or was this like he's perfect for this character?
Both.
Basically the one, I wouldn't call it a non-negotiable, but I would call it a firmly held opinion is when
That was the one like real. Well, we had a few trust us with Lucas, but like
Yeah.
one was, people, not everyone knew about Jedi Bob, and so I was like, trust me, the Lego people will be excited. And then we were like, we want to have an Australian droid, and we know who's voicing him, and trust us, it's going to be funny.
and it was a little bit like, oh, did you want to like
have auditions?
have auditions? And I said, nope, not necessary. This is the guy. And we just have such a wonderful creative relationship with Michael, both as writers and performers, and he's a brilliant animator. He's like a genius.
A great friend.
And he's a great friend. And so I just felt in my heart that Star Wars needed a new tonality for a droid, needed something that we haven't seen before. And there's amazing droids. I mean, I love all of the droids, but I said, this is a version of a droid that we haven't quite seen before, and not dissimilar to Pym on Smiling Friends or Koala Man. You're right. There is a lack of cynicism in Michael's performance. I think also in his personality. And I said, what if we just made this droid just a chipper Australian bloke?
Rules.
And I'm so gratified that people have really been responding to him, and we got to do something that I thought in a million years they would never let us do. I don't know if you remember at the beginning of the 3rd episode, in the kind of the lineup of helmets, even before the show starts, we show Servo, and he gains the ability to talk between episodes 2 and 3, and he goes, "Hi everybody, you're watching Star Wars," and it's like my secretly favorite moment in the entire special, because I thought there is not a chance in hell this is going to make it to the end of the line, and it did, and it's so fun.
Good.
And it makes me laugh every single time, and I've now seen it approximately 1 million times.
All right, so got to wrap up in a minute, but I have one final question for both of you. Are there other Lego IPs that you would want to work with? Are there other things that you'd like to bring back? And when can I expect the Dan and Benji Bionicle movie?
I know, that's all you want.
That's all I want.
Michael is cool.
When we were in Billund at the private Lego Idea House Lego
Mhm.
museum have there, they had a whole wall of every Bionicle that you would have really loved. It was
It was
cool.
like ode to Bionicle, like this.
Have you?
But
Benji,
Dan was not that familiar with Bionicles, and when he saw this room of Bionicles, Dan was like, "Wait, this is pretty cool."
they're
Yeah,
sick.
I actually got very in on the Bionicles after
You-
seeing them all together in the display, and because I grew up more collecting action figures and things like that, so it's a nice bridge between those two things. What other IP? That's a really great question. I mean, I think that there's tons that we would be excited to do, but I have to say, having been in Billund, I was really digging, like, we saw the classic Spaceman set of the old Legos, like the really old Legos. Sorry, not
the blue
Lego, not Lego.
Yeah,
Lego.
jeez.
I know.
Canceled.
I know, canceled. Sorry, Lego. But so I did think to myself, the ones that I loved the most growing up were like the pirate theme Lego that I just thought were so cool.
Yeah, Lego Pirate Adventure.
So
would be
I
pretty
actually
good.
think it would be fun to go back to the roots of Lego and get the pirates and the space guys and the original knights and castle.
Definitely do some of that in Lego movies.
And they do some of that in Lego Movie, but I think it would be
Like an original. Like a
I
full.
think it would be fun to really focus on that end of the Lego.
Well,
Twin Peaks, of course.
oh, yes.
Lego Twin Peaks. What am I talking
It'd be
about?
so good. Like imagine like the Lego bricks, but in the red room. What do they call the red room? I'm
The red
only a
room.
couple episodes in. Don't.
I think. Oh yeah, Lego Twin Peaks. That's my new answer.
That would be incredible. Well, thank you both for being here.
Almost.
We made it through bag 3. One bag left to go.
Yeah, if we had a few more minutes.
Pretty good. I'm sure, Dan, yours looks exactly like this right now, right?
I've got this. I've got this.
Yeah, that's my life. Welcome to my world.
There'll be something eventually, but thank you both for being here. The show is out Friday on Disney Plus, and is it Hulu? In
Disney
other
Plus
countries?
Friday.
Yeah, just
All
Disney
four-
Plus. Yeah,
All 4
Disney's
episodes drop at the same time, and hey, maybe just throw them all on. Maybe just watch them all the way through. Maybe
was gonna
watch them all the way through 500 or 600 times. I don't know.
Just keep it on. Just let it go in the background. You're good to go. It is really worth taking the time to set 2 hours just to watch all 4 of them at once, because they go so well together. And when episode 3 hits, that opening, it like solidifies that like this is the Star Wars comedy ever. Thank you both for being here. God, I love him so much. When I flipped, I popped so loud when he started talking in the intro. I was like, this is all servo now. But thank you both. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, Dan. We really appreciate it.